Welcome everybody, this is Evelyn and I have two reads for you today, maybe a third with a small message. The one on the table is my message of the day from the Metatron deck, Nature's Whispers, which is in the middle here, and then the Shaman Dreams here. On the left I always put the underlying energy piles here, 1, 2, 3, and then over here we have a pile of cards that I usually have to count. So I'll get a number from it and go through the deck with the pictures as well. And I also have a SIRIAN Starseed read that I just put out organically. And that was yesterday as well. And then a small read from this morning. And yeah, Teddy, my daughter was out last night and Teddy destroyed my plant over there that I usually have on the left. So first thing this morning was bringing up the energies of good girl, bad boy, you know, type of energy. You're bad, you're good, and what is good and bad, and then becoming the perpetrator, and because somebody else was the perpetrator, because they felt the victim, and then reacted, and then became the perpetrator, and then you react as the victim, and then become the perpetrator and scolding them, and then becoming the savior by then forgiving them and you know, cuddling them. So that whole play out was very apparent this morning as Teddy destroyed my plant. So sorry, he's playing with his little taco toy. Sorry about the little crunchy noise. But yes, his mommy's not here today and he's been anxious all night because she needs to come home and see him. So let's go ahead and take a few deep breaths first, and then we'll get into the messages. We're going to roll the die as well and pull oracle cards at the end. Take a deep breath. Take another deep breath. And one more deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings. Hope you're having a beautiful day. It's nice and sunny here today. And thank you so much for joining me. So I'm going to roll the die first. And I'm sorry if Teddy barks a little bit, but he is a little bit anxious without his mom here last night. But I wanted to tell you about the tuning forks, because Teddy really likes the clearing, the high vibe fork, the little one, which is, and these are from their MetaVibe technology, and this one is the 4096. Okay. He loves this one, so whenever I do this in the morning, he always wants to come over to see it. But this morning I did all 4 of my forks with him because I have the Om, the pineal gland, and the love fork, which is the 528 hertz. And he liked the love hertz the best. So let me give you a little bit of that. I hope you could hear that. Let's roll the die. Today is the 10th of August, 2022. We're still in the Lionsgate energies. And so yesterday was the 9th when I did the first 2 reads, and the day added up yesterday to the 23, which is the King of Wands. So the King of Wands and the Hermit was yesterday, and that's kind of a contradiction, right? The Hermit's very quiet, going within, and the King of Wands is the man of passion, without. And then today is the Queen of Wands with the 24, and the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune and Destiny, and that high vibration of the Queen of Wands. So let's go ahead and roll the die for the Twin Flames. Today is August 10, 2022. And we have Uranus, so sudden events or changes. We have the number 3, which is the Empress and Taurus, but also March, which is Pisces to Aries. And then we have Leo here as well. So, and with Uranus, we have Aquarius. So Aquarius and Leo are both fixed signs, and then Taurus, which is fixed as well. But then we also have the March energies of Pisces going into Aries, which is the old into the new. So very fixed energies today as we transition from the old to the new, which is very difficult, as you can imagine, if you're being fixed. So that push and pull kind of energy, right? That resistance, and yet pushing forward to a whole new world. So I'm going to show you the first picture, which is the just the SIRIAN Starseed read that I did. And it just came out organically as 2 and then 3 and then 2, etc. And then a pile that I had to count at the end, and the underlying energies as well. So I'm going to bring it all to you. But so this way you get a good look at the SIRIAN Starseed deck as well, which you don't normally see all the cards because they're covered by the mini deck, although I do show you the basic read. So this was at 9:55 yesterday morning, as I'm losing my voice a little bit. The 9 of the Hermit, the 55 of the Truth. So again, I'm losing my voice because the truth again needs to be spoken. And are we all always speaking our truth or being our truth, right? Because we all have these little masks that we have programmed within us. So the underlying energy was the King and Queen of Cups together, and the bliss of the energetic exchange, offering the truth of purpose in playing ball. Buoy ball, which was bringing up also the energy of the Pinocchio and becoming the real live boy. So the buoy boy. The plasma ether ball, or imaginary ball, proposing to lead and bring good news to the sovereign, or of sovereignty, of destiny, and that high vibe of the Queen of Wands, which it is today, and the King of Pentacles, which is the mastering of manifestation. The firecracker and the crystal skull, the Akashic records, and Gemini or Virgo and Libra were coming up here in the underlying energies. The first card out was the Page of Swords and the Knight of Wands, as Spirit's connecting with me, a message to bring, a fire to start, but with a slow burn. Perhaps Gemini needs to grow, and that can reference the twins as well, and learn from Libra, or Gemini knows how to start a fire, and Libra knows how to stretch and grow the frog to the prince. A message to get you going, again, lighting that fire under your butt. The Queen of Pentacles flame is lit in separation in order to heal. The Page of Pentacles is curious about many things, about the rock star, the stars, astrology, and walking like an Egyptian. Sekhmet, or how to heal with the music of the spheres, listening to the stars very closely to hear. The Two of Cups make a pact to climb out of the dark to the light. Atlas leaving the wounded warrior behind. Blowing out 9 candles and making a wish with 1 flame. Keeping the unknown in their shadow backpack. The inner struggle to stretch and grow to the King of Swords, the man of integrity, which is coming, integrity is coming up broken down as in moral man's grit at 0 point. The 5 of Wands, waving flames, perhaps humidity, adding a bit of water to the game, as August heats up. Getting over the 3 of Cups, lost to focus on the 2 of Cups and union. With rainbow lovers, out of molten coal, so it's that rainbow energy like steaming up out of the coal that's been under pressure for a long time. And then Mount St. Helens came up again, and that came up as, you know, the possibilities of eruption. And the lover's affection heats up the stars, the adoration of Madonna in bangles, being vogue while walking like an Egyptian. Being vogue, walking like an Egyptian. The 10 of Cups with Niagara Falls here comes up in the pyramids. And there is like a some kind of Egyptian pyramid up at the falls, you know, a replica type of thing. But the Ten of Cups Niagara Falls is coming up as that powerful energy of the water pounding over the falls. The pyramids with the flyer at the top gathering all the light. 4 under the rainbow for support and 6 on top to see that they get there. Aligned emotional backing. The energy of waves crashing and cracking, quote unquote. Crackling was also coming up. The starseed downloaded to the crown for a fresh start, or reset, so to speak. Hail to the crown. Mount Kailash in Tibetan Himalayas was coming up, and the shooting stars. You don't go there, it comes to you. After intention put out, it then comes back to the crown. It's after the intention to open the crown, then it naturally comes to you. The peace of the dolphin, who's friendly with the curved fin, like a submarine with a lookout, or Merkaba. The Metatron's cube, a Merkaba the Merkaba is within another Merkaba within a circle, which is the Metatron's cube. It's the 2 sets of 6 circles, which is the Merkaba. The consciousness and its core, and Creator's loving arms around it. So message and get up and go, or the Page of Swords and the Knight of Wands at 10:30, which is destiny of the union. To inspire the Queen of Pentacles, and that can be a queen of children or of her own inner child or being childlike. To inspire the Queen of Pentacles to ignite her heart healing and forgiveness, and the Page of Pentacles to shine and heal as well. So there's that mother and child energy again. The Queen of Pentacles by lightning strike, activation, and the Page of Pentacles by tapping in, listening to the stars and curiosity. The 2 of Cups of the Queen of Pentacles with the Page of Pentacles, again, mother and child, or just these could be siblings or 2 earth signs. This can be a queen and a pet as well. With flame in hand, in left hand, climbing towards the light, leaving the wounded warrior behind, while the inner war goes on to stretch and grow of the King of Swords, perhaps with the Page of Swords and the Knight of Wands. Dealing with groups, conflict, competition, or sports and performing, the pursuit of happiness and the waves of flames. Grieving or getting over loss, regret at home, or purging in the Union Castle with drawbridge on display, with roses to welcome you and fireworks on display as sunsets in the background. The lovers' affections for their galactic relatives, love, family, and community powering up the 2 of Cups, the soulmates, as the starseeds receive upgrades to the crown during this Lionsgate period. And then Tibet came up, which broken down was coming up as Source B star. Source wager acceptance of a challenge, the House of God. The House of the Face, the Page, the Side, and the Direction. The little drummer boy coming up here again. So the mountain is 22,000 feet tall. There's the 22 of the Fool's Journey. And that's from bioguia.com. 22,000 feet tall, the roof of the world, of course the mountain in Tibet, and gathering of Scorpio full moon, or at the Scorpio full moon. So again, you know, in the sign of Scorpio, or when is the Scorpio full moon? And is that a reference to Halloween? I'm not sure, but so talking about the crown of the world, which is that Tibetan mountain, it's also translating as source be here and outside here. So again, being in and outside at the same time. It's source yet but still, or both at the same time. Source's bed or source's flower bed. It also comes up as the crossbar, which I described as becoming the star when you put the diamond in the center of the crossbar, which is the plus sign with the star in the middle, which join two drying racks or grids at a barn or hay house. So again, the word bet, B-E-T, is the crossbar or the plus sign, the star, which joined two grids at hay house. God's star joins two grids and ley lines at hay house. It's also number 8 and the skunk puts out a very stinky smell. So Tibet comes up as source 8 and can produce a very bad stench. Very good natural defense of this mountain. I don't know if it does put out a stench, but it's coming up as a bad smell, you know, what the skunk puts out. Tibet also comes up as Tai and Bet, the ley lines where the vertical pillars meet the horizontal, the crown. And broken up as Tib and Et. Also, the numbers 1 and 1 come up together, so it is the number 11 as well as the number 18. The 11 alignment and 18 of the 0-point field. It also is the flute, the pipe, the early wind instrument, Tibet. And Et is Estonia, thirst. Oh, by the way, Tib is also the tibia. So, and the lower leg has been coming up all week. The calf, and now the shin bone coming up. It also means the prostitute or working class, the young girl or sweetheart, the one, medicine, a tub. And then Et, besides and in French, means those other things I said, plus besides and likewise, ampersand, which is the and sign, bean, and the number 8, flesh and meat. So Tibet comes up as the number 11 and 18, the sweetheart's thirst, the instrument to dance, the prostitute likewise, and the shin, flesh, which I was getting to shine now, and medicine you, that you are the medicine. So finding peace underwater, and then the Knight of Swords passing the 5D messages for groundbreaking event, the diamond in the rough, the breakthrough, the divine masculine's heart in the bat cave coming together in a gathering for union. The chariot in a bold move with 5 horses and Pegasus, like Santa Claus and Rudolph, leap across the sun, the Tibetan ascension or travel to the sun or on vacation, the vacate connection, with Cancer to Leo and the moon in Cancer August 22nd to 24th as Leo goes to Virgo, boldly taking flight, the sun Pegasus to the daughter Andromeda, and the 6 of Cups, loving children hugging each other in a ring of the 6 of Cups in God's loving arms, around the 2 Merkaba fields, the masculine and the feminine, the 9 of Cups getting their wish by opening their heart fully without fear, and the Page of Cups at that pure innocent love, along with the 9 of Cups of being happy with oneself. And it's also the energy of the 9 of Cups plus 1 more, making that birthday wish, right? The 9 is the ending, the 1 is to the next. The extra wish, the wizard with open curtain, and the Page of Cups with an open heart. Or the Tibetan man and the Thai Saman Pan, Sam and Pam. Uncle Sam, Peter Pan, and Sam and Pan, I am. So there's that reference to the pandemic and Uncle Sam with the United States. And then my Nat came by at 11:20, which is supposed to be the reference to Unforgettable. So Unforgettable at 11:20, the alignment with justice, truth, and balance. And the 20 of the wake-up call, Uncle Sam and Peter Pan. Sam and Pan I am. I like green eggs and hams. Smart and green and likes to ham it up. From the Page of Swords to the Page of Cups, the message to the open heart. With 8 cards here at the end as I'm getting big connection here. And when I talk about big connection, it's like all my hair standing on end, and they're different connections. Sometimes it's wrapped around my shoulder, sometimes it's my lower legs, and sometimes it's full body. But I was just getting a little bit of a hug around my shoulders, but earlier in this read I was getting my lower legs. And again, the calf and the shin definitely coming up here that may need healing. The higher self here at the bottom of it all, and the 8 cards, and there's the 8 of the dance, of strength, and of manifesting dreams. And at the top of it all, talking about the mountain in Tibet, the crown of the world, at the top of it all here is the 8 of Swords, the prison and the release. the coming out of hiding by the creek. The two flames ascend with the world in the palm of your right hand. The Middle East coming up here with the genie and the belly button all lit up, the solar plexus, the sunshine, the star of shining your light. I dream of genie in a bottle with a message, and the wizard behind the curtain, now open. Jane and Tarzan. So curtain comes up with Jane, and then Tarzan, which brings up the tar again, which has been coming up all week. But is coming up as simple people of music, donkeys, and sailors. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Jack jumped over the candlestick. The Queen of Swords with a sword and a trigger, grounded by the reed, the plant reed, the mouthpiece separate from the instrument to tweak the quality of the sound piece. So again, being the mouthpiece of God. Source and its mouthpiece for varied perspectives, as the Knight of Pentacles proposes crystal light to come together in Trinity. Sekhmet idol with mask and women who worship them, one with the information and one with the practical know-how at the gingerbread house, inspiring the higher self. The psychic abilities, the Akashic records in the plasma ethers and the northern lights and the dark side of the moon. A reading from the stargates and the pillars, the Page of Wands and the higher self. The twin flames coming out around the world as the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles, or her offer to work at the Three of Pentacles Trinity, the place of work, with the Page of Wands higher self, or to inspire the higher self, with lots of Pisces here, again, with 1 foot in this world and 1 foot in the next, right? Because the end of the astrological chart, and then going into the next realm. So again, the underlying energies, the major arcana cards that came up were Gemini or Virgo and Libra in the underlying energy, and then during the read was Sagittarius, Aquarius, Gemini, Aries, Cancer, Leo, and Pisces. And also what we noticed in the read, actually with my daughter's help when she woke up, was that the piles were 18, 14, and 18, which is my birthday and her birthday. So again, the mother and child energy coming up very strongly here. And the whale is here too. And the whale sounds were coming up. I had watched Magenta's video last night. And when she talked about the sonar and the whale, I literally got a very explicit ring in my left ear. It was like the whale's tone coming through in my left ear. But just at that moment when she brought up the whale and the sonar message was coming up in my left ear. And that's on card 61, is about taking the risk, but it's also the year I was born, matching my birthday this year. All right, so and remember, tar comes up as the name Jack for the sailors, comes up under tar. So again, lots of things around the name Jack. The sailor, the donkey to be, the whipping sound, which is coming up as kind of like the sonar of the whale. To come, to survive, fly, to be quick. So again, Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. And then over and across, Jack jump over the candlestick. So tar means tar as well, like tar from coal, but was also coming up as Tara and Estar, which comes up as Esther as well. From the as musical instruments, it also comes up as the frame drum and the string instrument, bald, and the program for archiving. But I wrote arcing by accident there, so there you go. The program for arcing with tar, coming up in Tarzan and Avatar, and lots of things that have been coming up this week. So here is the second read, which is the one on the table here. Okay, so again, all 3 decks with the Metatron on top, if it wants to focus for me. Metatron's on top, Nature's Whispers in the middle here. And then the bottom one is the Shaman Dreams. I'm going to bring it in a little bit closer so you can see the details. Okay, Nature's Whispers, they're such beautiful cards, and Shaman Dreams. And then here is the Metatron deck up top. Okay. All right, so here's this read. This one was done from 11:55 to noon yesterday, so kind of like the time of the 11th hour. And by the way, in astrology, I read this once that that if you're born 15 minutes before midnight or 15 minutes after midnight, like you're like the Weeble, like Weebles wobble, but they never fall down. And that energy is coming up around this 11:55 to 12. So the underlying energy for this read is coming up as the beacon 44, the potential gateway of 50, which is the 10 of cups, the family, 44 is the 4 of cups, and then the 21 of the world, which is the first breath. The beacon, the tree, and the baby's breath. And the light, the purple light is shining on Archangel Sandalphon today. So I just thought you'd like to know. It's like right on him. It's right on his lyra. Or right between. It's right between him. Yeah, it's like on the left side of the instrument. So the beacon, which is the pillar, the mountain in this card, you know, it's the waves beating up against the mountain, causing it to light up. And but the waves are turbulent, right? They're not calm waves that are beating up the mountain. They're turbulent waves, that the energy of the electric beating up against the magnetic in order to create that energy, that lighting up of the lighthouse, which you are. The beacon, the tree, and the baby's breath. The grounding, integrating, and mastering of receiving love, the waters passing love from mountain to mountain. Right? Because the mountains can't move themselves, so the waters is like a go-between, bringing the love back and forth. And from tree to tree. Remember the tree and mountains, they can bend a little bit and show that as long as they show that effort of reaching out, it's okay. But they need to show that effort to reach out to the flowers and the vines, right? The tree and the tree to the tree for emotional fulfillment, to become a potential gateway, become whole and complete. A beginner's mind, listening in to all the planets that you find. With Pisces energy of the two worlds in the age of Aquarius, and the age of Adeline was coming up. It was a movie that came up this past week where she becomes immortal. And then the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords, where the Queen of Swords comes up first with the 52 and Big Bird, and the Queen of Cups of the 38 with the activated light body, the fourth density. And again, density is different than dimension, right? So within a density, you have all of the different dimensions. And the densities last for, you know, long, long periods of time, as opposed to the dimensions, which you can go back and forth from. So the chariots of fire, of that energy of the hermit energy here, right, running with the big birds, as the Queen of Swords came up as the big bird. So the Queen of Cups coming up as the hermit, or perhaps the two feminine energies coming up with the third energy of the hermit. After the Knight of Wands offered the truth, the chariots of fire, after the Knight of Wands offered their truth of the root, which is coming up as the shaman's truth, after healing the 43 of coming together, and the hermit of the 9 being within and then taking action or movement to release energies, for the 27 of the Ace of Wands, that third flame or just the flame, the inspiration to open your lungs, the mouthpiece, from a peaceful ocean jog, inspiring turbulent waves to beat on the mountain, the drum, to pump up the heart so it lights up to the sky. Can you see? This is in order for our relatives outside of this planet to be able to see you better. This is coming up as, like I said, the inspiration to open your lungs, to breathe, to exercise. From the peaceful ocean calm of the hermit, inspiring turbulent waves to beat the mountain, to drum, to pump up the heart so it lights up to the sky. Can see you better from above at 12:17, the hanging man and the star. The Queen of Swords and the Queen of Cups, inspired to take perhaps their pet out or run with them, to activate after hermiting, to wake up the mountain, the crown, the chakra, to light up after perhaps the dog scratched their crown, which was funny because my daughter's dog ended up scratching her crown yesterday, so she got a little mad at him because it hurt her. But it was so weird that he literally scratched her crown exactly where she was pointing on her head. And again, we're referencing to the crown of the earth too in Tibet. Waking up the mountain, the crown chakra, to light up after the dog scratched the crown. So there's a parallel to the mountain in Tibet. Whatever scratched the crown in Tibet of the mountain. Inspired to ground, and that can be referencing Mount St. Helen as well. Perhaps some of the other earth chakras as well. Because of course Shasta is coming up too, because that's on the coast along with Mount St. Helen. But it's like the energy of not realizing it, but your pets are actually helping you and your children to wake up. They're doing certain things. They're guided to do certain things to help you wake up. The mother holding space at present for girls to come in, with the High Priestess Divine Feminine or Pisces time out needed to reflect in 0 point in the purple moon, where the cosmos mirrors the number 20 in the wake-up call, the crystal dodeca, do 10, the high vibe, do your destiny, where destiny's coming up as de sty of NY, New York, but it's coming up as the eye infection or the unity of Christ consciousness at the 0 point, gamma. And the sty also comes up as times 86 instruction, right? 86ing it to the nth degree, or letting go of outside instruction, enables the interrupts or the interference of the 86ing instruction of unity at 0 point. Destiny's child enables interruptions, the longitudinal interference that causes the direction of the toroidal field, right? So you normally see the toroidal field with the energy of the hourglass going straight up and down. When there's longitudinal interference, it creates an angle or a trajectory. And this can be a positive thing if you do it naturally, or a negative thing if someone does it on purpose, right? The energy of longitudinal interference causes direction of the toroidal field, like a thorn in your side, right? The scratching of the crown, the needle in the haystack, a distraction for you to get out of your mind and into your heart, for a shift at the right time, the right so the moment's coming up as the time, and just at the right, at the left angle, which is at the right angle, which is coming up as the space. Just at the right moment and space, the right moment and the left space, which is the right angle. The signs of the 50 of emotional fulfillment and the cycle's ending, and the message are messages from Spirit with love. The 11 of alignment of the wake-up call, of truth and balance, to listen and take note, and again, to hear. Aligning with the clarion call, the clear connection home, the clear channel to all ancestors in the energetic exchange of appreciation and healing, and the ice cube, Metatron's cube, to cool off the earth, the 2 Merkabahs inside God's loving arms, the Mother Earth of the 18 and the 0 point field for grounding and support. The call for the ark for support. The arks under the sea and the desert are taking water from the surface. The tree of life and the journey from orange to gold, finding that needle in a haystack or the drop of water under the ocean. One with the stone. The light of the moon is the coolness of the moon and the heat of the sun as opposed to the heat of the sun. The 32 of the journey of discovery and Magellan and Columbus and finding those hidden treasures. At 1244, the hanging man and the grounding, integrating, and mastering of how to receive love. The authenticity of the 46 of the loving inner and outer children hugging each other, and the upside down tear or the keyhole to fill of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So again, reflecting the tears is the hole to fill of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Are you paying attention to what's making you purge or cry? the 1245 of the Hanging Man and the Purge, the 22 of the Fool's Journey of Archangel Sandalphon, that they are here with you now. Saint Dolphin, Lyran, in Sandalphone home. And Burberry was coming up, my daughter's perfume that she had on. So again, those smells. And again, the smell, the bad smell of the Tibetan mountain, and the fools, and again with perfumes. You know, what are perfumes made with? A lot of them are made with the oils of animals and killing animals. So the Fool's Journey to the Page of Cups and the evolution, the rebirth of the sweetheart, the aqua rose gold mother's heart of love and harmony, the mother and child bonding as well. At 1250 of the Hanging Man and the 50 again of the emotional fulfillment of the family, 18 cards came up. At the bottom of it all is the codependency of the Knight of Swords, the 53, and at the top of it all was coming up as the communication or the calm, the 5 of speaking and being heard, the message in a bottle with the conch shell mouthpiece to stand up and shout just a little bit louder. Shower with diamond light for clarity on the shadow. At 1256, the hanging out of the Hanging Man and the wisdom, and the 56 of being in your knowing and keeping your energy clear. The 41 of the Ace of Cups, of self-love, spiritual love, and new love, and reflecting compassion, of the 26, the little one, the Page of Wands, the pink baby of self-love and nurture, and the 4 of the Emperor, right, the little child within the Emperor, and letting go in the fall to release the orange of the 24 of the Queen of Wands, to stretch and lunge into the Om of walking away and within to 0 point, the 28 of the Twin Flames and the double diamonds, untying the karmic knots in the electromagnetic grid, the 1 of the Magician, the magic bee, the Magi, of the yellow and the Mary Magdalene, the solar plexus of quantum entanglement. And if you've ever had a reading done on your chakra layers, you may have been told that there's a lot of jumbled up lines in your solar plexus. The quantum entanglement, the traffic jam, the pollination bringing joy at the number 33 of the 4D bridge, going to the 66 or the GG of the 2 spirals coming together within the heart, the Golden Gate, and the dimensional gateway of the 4D, the 33 going to the 66, to the 42 of the 2 of Cups and the Whispering Bench, to go with the flow on the Salt River. So again, this Whispering Bench is a room in your meditation where you and your masculine can go to and not have to sit right next to each other to hear each other on the Whispering Bench, and yet still connect as you come closer together on the bench. The Salt River also references the Mary Magdalene baptism of where the Salt River and the fresh water meet. The King of Cups of the 37, look up at the sunrise, the Divine Masculine missing his Mary Magdalene, the Buttercup, the Dandy Lion, and that references Bellatrix as well, they're the lion, with Beetlejuice. The 7 of the Chariot and water, of the Divine Feminine within the Masculine ascending together into emotional well-being, making honey, sweet love. The 14 of the boundaries of high vibe love, which is the grace of nature, on the sine trail, that sine wave trail, which is the T rail as well, right? The star rail, marking GPS to the sun through the gates, like the veins, blood going through the valve stations, revving you up to gain momentum. Pa-pa-pum, so the little drummer boy keeps coming up through this. Pa-pa-pa-pum. The 16 of the tower and the Holy Grail, or the Holy G rail, the tunnel of God's rail, from the heart of the mountain or tree to the crown, to infinity and beyond, going for the gold, the G of God and the old of his ancientness, the sudden epiphany of a higher love, with the King of Swords, the 51, purifying with diamond light and pure wings of innocence, in no sense. The 36 of Atlas and the weight of the world, of the inner child, needing to be heard. The sheep, the flock. Pretend your inner child is the group, that you are always attending to as opposed to them, as the Knight of Swords, codependent of the family, and as the children here and the grandchildren are now trickling down from the crown to get out of the rain. Bum, bum, bum. So now the march of the ants as well, 2 by 2, but also the little drummer boy. The little ones, the grandchildren putting the family back together, again, after Humpty had a great fall from sitting on the wall, expecting kings and horses and men to fix him and not going straight to the source. So now the best parts of you, your children and grands, yourself, weaving the tree back together again, binding the pages, articulating page to page. Those young ones are so good at communication these days. At 111, the magician and justice of truth and alignment and balance. The underlying energy of the 50 of the portal, the potential gateway of emotional fulfillment in the family, after self-satisfaction of this 49, to heighten your vitality. After the twin flames, 28, coloring our world, in preparations, the 4 of the Emperor pause for the little fairy girl to touch base, or the little girl touching the trunk of the tree, with tree for security and assurance of the 14 of patience and balance, that all 4 seasons shall come and pass. The young, the old, and the new ones will come. The 13 of the transition to renewal of peace of the little one at the base of the tree in their loving arms, as all the animals come to see. The 10 of that high vibration and destiny to open your heart to your high vibe swan's loving arms. The 17 of the stars and dreams coming true, the infinite blessings in dreams of fairy dust and the nutcracker sweet. The 38 of the Queen of Cups, wrapping her vines around his trunk, and the 50 of the happy family tree gateway to the plasma ethers, where you say, please, Ma. At 118, which is the magician and the moon, the little fairy girl, where we have the full moon coming up, I believe it's the 12th or 13th, something like that. At 118, the little fairy girl, with the ancient ones around the trees, making ripples as she's the little girl chariot, the 7 in the water, the avatar on the journey to trust their own understanding, your filter, your mask, and then the 9 of the hermit in the perfect setting, painted by Mom, the little chariot and the hermit on a journey together. The 12 of the hanging man expanding through the hand fasting. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jumped over the candlestick, as the mountains connect via the double rainbow bridges and the hot air balloons, and I'm getting baboons here as well, as the buck with the little one reaches their hand out to pull high vibe divine feminine into his world, hanging out and being wise. With 14 cards, at the bottom of it is the 29 of contemplation, and at the top of it all is the 37 of the King of Cups and unconditional love and the ideal course of action. The community calls out to the Lady of Nature, or the Oaxaca, to connect North and South Americas, or us, U.S. The unconditional love of the King of Cups and the 11 of aligning with Tibet, to make a decision, going out on a limb to join forces here. The 43 of the 3 of Cups, where love matters, as the bird cracks open to reveal that ship has sailed and coming together with no cotton fields here. There's no slave or slave driver or the wrong side of the tracks, as the 40 page of Cups shows support for the little ones, the fairies and the birds, the flowers and the man in the whispering bench. The 16 of the Tower with sudden inner truths, knocked off balance at the heart of the tree and seeing many worlds, as the octopus teacher with shells on her head feeding the little seahorse, the Knight of Wands Pegasus, or the horse which is the whore who sees, Andromeda, and drama, or over dad as he leaves him behind to be with her. And this is like Romeo and Juliet, right? Forsaking their father to be with them. And all the drama that has occurred with that. The divine feminine Ace of Cups, to be in service to the vulnerable. The 36 of the Atlas supports the brain on fire. So literally the Atlas is the top of the spine supporting the brain on fire with the crown opening. The intuition, who the intuit people connection are at the top of the world. And the deep, being deep in the natural water, not like chlorinated water, but natural water, to activate the crown. The 20 of the wake-up call to higher ground, in a wake-up call not to follow the crowd, not to follow the sheep or the herd, to be heard. She's listening. The 46 of the inner children, the little curl and the unicorn, and perpetually open crown, with gratitude and appreciation for each other, and the rainbow around the world that is complete. The rainbow bridge, which is the building of the Antakarana bridge, is now complete around the world. At 133, the magician and the 33 of the Christ vibration and the bridge to the other side, going to the 34 of energetic exchange, the 8 of wands, the vulnerability and allowing oneself to fall, to trust. The little fairy girl in the leaf, down the borealis river of the pink sun and 9 candles. Leafing the past behind, trusting where the flow takes you. The 23 of the King of Wands, that you are worth it, King of Wands. You are worth possessing the vision that you see, that you have, of her and the tree and the beach and the OC and the 7 candles of the horizon flowering and your ship coming in. As the blue baby, Knight of Wands, blows you a kiss to keep your dreams alive at the culmination of a vision, the 35 Wounded Warrior's Path, which is now complete. All dried up, it's time to move on in the fall, as the 29, the contemplation of it all. The little butterfly girl with a lion's heart or a pet looks up to see what's there for her, as Mama looks on, admiring her beauty within, the unconditional love and gifts that children and animals bring. So those are the messages there. And then I had something I did this morning. And I wanted to bring that to you too. It's a quick one. And this was, again, this was from the SIRIAN Starseed deck, but then I was guided to use the energy deck as well. So I used them both together. So yeah, so it's in a pyramid form. So this is the message from this morning from the SIRIAN Starseed deck. Okay, the underlying energy is there on the left. And then the same format for the energy deck and the way it came out. And here's the message I got from that. Okay, so at 9:14 this morning, the 9 of the Hermit, the 14 of the Temperance card, patience and balance, and that higher love. The underlying energy from the King of Wands at night, who may have been sad, wanting to break free, and losing patience with Leo and Sagittarius there. The Queen of Swords with the truth and looking at the stars. Destined Queen of Wands who's sharing with friends. And a message, perhaps a massage. Or a message of the King of Cups. Pisces or higher self at home with the Queen of Cups. So it's coming up as with Pisces energy between the King of Cups and Queen of Cups, which they can share that energy, or maybe there's actual Pisces person who's in between, or pet, something like that. But the King and Queen of Cups with the higher self between, or the King and Queen of Cups in union with the 10 of Pentacles, inspired or triggering the mother here. The energy deck with the Page of Cups is Sun, or Metatron power. It's like the masculine energy in their extreme power, because Metatron, this Metatron card comes up as the Page of Cups, which is that very innocent power of being, pure love. Taking a rest with caring connection, the 42 of the 2 of Cups, and the mother who feeds him with abundance and justices with truth and balance. The 18 of the Moon and the 0 point. The energy of Cancer as well with anxiety. The 35 of the Wounded Warrior on guard, the protector, right? The one who is they're anxious because they're They're appointed to guard the family, right? The masculine of the family, or even your dog who feels anxiety when their person is gone. The protector of women, holding the heart. The 44 of the goddess of the moon, holding it up. The Queen of Swords, carrying the moon for the wounded warrior and the woman with a heart, so that they can have time to look back and feel into things. Then the first card from the Sirius deck was the Empress with conflict, or deep in emotions when waves are coming in. Climbing the stairs, or synchronicities, or spiraling upward on that stairway to heaven to show affection and surrender to all that is. And that very much came up with me this morning when I woke up, to find the plant pieces all over the place. And I had to vacuum and clean up, and of course, not knowing if he ate any of it, that kind of thing. But the triggers, those spontaneous triggers that are so ingrained that you just naturally do them, but we're just being called to step back and see them. So as soon as you catch yourself, just step back and realize we're just surrendering to all that is. It is what it is, right? A dog doesn't know. They don't know the rules about plants, or that it was a plant that you really liked, that you didn't want destroyed. They just want your love and attention, right? The Empress being open, the juggler open, the flame is open to the flame mother in the water, the daughter on dry land, and the man juggling both where land meets sea. Daughters receiving downloads from the lover, proposing they hug and make up, like two little kids on the playground. The Emperor feeds the fire with AI, or is burning the artificial hand that feeds. With karma, or the mother and their car, or ma, hanging out with a right knee block, the truth just below the surface of idolizing the child, with masculine flame making a mess. Because they miss them, they act up at 940, which is the Hermit and the Page of Cups. The new passion, the new love, and the Empress present with the Emperor offering truth for love, or throwing a bone, the Emperor is, but their heart may not be in it after a mess, and yet now offering love. Conflict and waves of flames passing downloads to the dad or the grand, and the karmic ma's truth for love, right? That exchange of truth for love. The climbing to pass messages and propose the wake-up call to the truth inspired by an outpouring of love. Lovers propose an innocent love after dealing with mother's tough love and father's throwing you a bone, or the mother's drama and the father, making up for that, or the invention, right, to make up for the tough love. It's like good cop, bad cop, balancing out the energies, right? So if you had a really hard time with your mom or your father, then the other one that makes up for that by, with money or gifts or trying to spoil you in some way to rebalance that energy. The processing of anger and blocks and new perspectives of parents, and perhaps that mother is a mess, and that may represent yourself as well. But just really, when someone's a mess, it's just them begging for love. Idolizing the child, a mother who would do anything for their child, but she gives away her power. So the two extremes of the mother, right? The dark mother who may be too hard, right? Maybe abusive. And then the mother who coddles or spoils their child too much, and then they give their power away completely. Everything is always about balance. There's no right or wrong. It's the balance between the two ends. Very easily being mad at someone and then making up with them can be the perpetrator and savior reacting to the one who's the perpetrator and victim feeling left behind, right? So again, that reference of this morning and the dog eating the plant and getting scolded and then loved and forgiven afterwards. Again, being the perpetrator and the savior after the victim becomes the perpetrator. And that was at 9:51 of the Hermit and the King of Swords. You catch yourself saying, there's nothing wrong with saying no, right? Because the pet or the child has to learn something. But it's about remembering that nothing's important except for love. And that when we say bad boy or bad girl, they're identifying with that as them, as opposed to the act being bad or good. right? That someone doesn't want them to do that anymore. And Teddy's looking at me right now as I'm talking about that. He's so cute. So, the Hermit and the Queen of Wands at 9:52. Surrendering to all that is, to love each other, forgiveness of self and other, hanging out and feeling the block of idol worship. As a society, we worship the stars, whether they're the famous people or the stars up in the sky, and giving it all away for love. If only that star loves me, then people will see me too. If only I become a star, right, as children growing up, then I'll be loved by all. And it's not about being loved by all, it's being your authentic self, being true to you. What is your mission? What makes you feel good every day? There's no amount of attention from others that's going to make you feel good if you don't feel good about being authentic to who you are. Processing, it's the energy too of processing and looking and feeling when you're upset. The word is cross, right? At a crossroads. Processing, looking and feeling cross. Mother Mary and Santa Claus with presents and gifts. Opportunity to play ball, to tell the truth, to be your truth, to receive love. To be giving, to receive, which is allowing others to give too so they can receive from you. Again, a balance in everything. Parents on the right here, which was my left, and it's like they're looking at me, so it's their right as a person looking at me. And then children were here in the read on the left, which is my right, holding each other tight, getting the past blocks to be inspired by love. So the parents were in their masculine, and the children in their feminine here, holding each other tight, getting past the blocks of the mother and father to be inspired by love. Excuse me. And from the energy deck, there was a lot of anxiety here. The 30 of the little girl who's home with anxiety issues, being afraid to go outside, and the King of Cups of the 37 and unconditional love. And that's referencing, again, the dog who's always unconditionally loving. The 45 of the purging man with heart in their hand, and the 41 of her crowning with self-love, new love, and realizing her crowning achievement may not be her crowning achievement at all. I'm getting a little tickle in the left side of my throat. The 4 of the Emperor's family and balancing with one child, in the ocean water perhaps, and the 22 on the Fool's Journey with the Knight of Wands perhaps acting up and deceiving them about the other child. And this could be, I'm getting so much tickling on the left to the top. This could be a father with a child and the mother separate with a child because the mother deceived the father about the other child. There's something about that going on. But again, here's that energy of opposing forces of one child being that very sweet child, but they're now afraid to leave the house. And the other extreme child being the one who's out being bad, right? They're having sex, they're doing drugs, whatever they're doing, or just lying. It's the polarity of being spoiled or being too hard and not having found balance within the family. The 5 of the Hierophant with marriage and attachment and the mask that we all wear. The 6 of the Lover's contract, or the attachment to contract. And realize that contract is the opposite of expansion. With the community, where 5, 6, and 7 all came up in a row, right, made in heaven, with girls all around them. Or the man with 2 girls, both confident and sad. One is daddy's little girl and anxious, and the other one's deceptive and proud, to be independent. The 22 of the 4 to 7, that sweet spot, which is the Fool's Journey with an open heart, taking a leap of faith. The Fool's Journey to the Chariot, which is the feminine within the masculine, ascending, with marriage and the family between them in the marriage as well. The good child versus the bad child, the yin and the yang, bringing it closer to the middle with attachment and contract versus expansion. Remember the opposites are life and death, are chaos and control. Letting go of chaos and control to surrender to all that is at 0 point, where all is well. And that's referencing the well, too, of diving deep. So just a couple quick oracle cards. Let's pull the unknown animal spirit deck. Let's see what comes up here. All right, what is our takeaway from today with the fixed energies? 1 foot in this world and 1 foot in the next, with all fixed energies, like kind of trying to hold us back. The bee, and there's that same energy, right, of their little wings trying to hold up their big body, right, that resistance. But yet they can do it if they work hard. And the wise owl with the camel, and there's very independent energies here, right? The wise owl, and there's you can see the rainbow of colors that they have, but they're dealing with very difficult energies, and yet they remain calm. The bee is creating their own beautiful energy around them, right? It only goes so far, though. You see the dark energies in the corners. And then here's the camel as well, who might be a little blue, but they're very independent. It's all up to you, right? Everybody has their own abilities. And then we have the wolf, right, who's kind of perplexed right now because he's the leader of the pack. But now if everybody's sovereign, who's he supposed to lead? I'm not sure about that. As there's still a mouse here who's afraid to leave the house, right? They're afraid to come out of the closet there. And the little ones who are very vulnerable, right? Whether this is the nervous stomach of their intestines or this is the little baby new one keeping their pure energy to themselves. And this could be a small child who's also nervous about this new one, whether these could be a pet and a child, or they could be 2 children or 2 pets, right? Being very nervous about the new one who's come into their space. What am I supposed to do with that? As the lion comes into the next story here. So that's the next story, because that's moving on. And look what's at the bottom of the deck. The lion and the tiger is the TION. The tiger and the lioness, the TION, which is the twin flames. So the energy of the fixed energies, and it's like a test, you know, can you remain calm? Knowing that the energies will change tomorrow. Can you remain calm in those fixed energies when you're not allowed to move forward? When you feel you're drenched in dark energies, or someone's feeling a little bit blue today, can you sit in that energies and still just be you without getting triggered? Okay? And the wolf is kind of stunned, or perhaps spaced out, or maybe they got caught. Or maybe they caught someone else red-handed. This is me and Teddy this morning. Really? Really, Teddy? He's looking at me now. I don't know if you can see him over there, but no, you can't see him. He's by the window. And again, and then, you know, they know when they do something wrong, so their stomach gets all tied in knots. So there comes up again that quantum entanglement within the solar plexus. And then the next story, which is about the twin flames of the TION, the tiger and lioness. And the nest egg, the golden child, the star child, the little lamb, the target. So there's like, this is the energy of the, oh, did I miss one? I did. What did I miss? Ah, the hyena's in there, trying to get in there into the nest, right? To get in with getting good with the star, to getting good in with the golden child, right? Because before, this is the lion and the lamb, right? But there's a hyena in between, right? Trying to it's the thorn in your side. It's that trigger that's making a mess of things between the star of the lamb and the nest egg of the lion, the lion's den, and the star child, with the hyena getting there in between. And that's Teddy's face looking all guilty. This is so funny. All right. And then the tiger at the bottom of it all. And what was behind the tiger is the collective awakening, but on the ground from the side, not above, but side to side, on the ground with the troops. Going through this transformation of the bee, of JC, the carpenter bee, to growing these big wings, and going through transformation with the cobra, which is the culmination of the kundalini rising to the crown. So it's definitely this energy of the crown. After the vulture, this is the eagle who's grown old. It's time for the kundalini, the cobra, to rise to the crown, to rise to the occasion. and grow their wings. It's time. You can't keep the little wings anymore. You have to expand your wings in the collective awakening as the masculine becomes the tiger. Very cool. All right, let's pull up the journey of love. Journey of love. What is our takeaway message today? The spiral dance of the goddess, the 29, and this can represent gangrene, right? The strangling of the ovaries and the fallopian tubes, the strangling of that, the death of cutting something off, cutting someone's voice off. It's like cutting off a limb, right? It's like the vocal cords as well. The 29 of being present to your gifts, the spiral dance of the goddess. And this also comes up as the pearl energy. And there's the pearl energy also, the void. So they want you to see the difference between this and this, of the Page of Cups, of that pure innocent love, of the void and 0 point of the innocent child, as opposed to being present in the moment to gifts and not allowing your voice to come out or be heard. It's like the Page of Cups is being true to yourself. That is the authentic you, right? That pure, innocent love. To open up the windpipes, to not strangle them off. Don't cut off your nose to spite your face, but don't cut off your vocal cords. By being so present in the moment that you're not expressing yourself too, because you're living in both worlds. Right? We have the Across the Waters with the King of Wands. As she's waiting in the wings for him, in the spiral of the vortex, she's learned to be in the chaos without getting triggered, as she sees the light at the end of the tunnel. Into the 30 of union, the towering magnificence of it all, where it all comes together, so tall. So again, being present to the moment, to the Page of Cups innocence of the Lamb, the lion and the lamb. Because the King of Wands is the lion, that lion energy, even if it's that energy of the Sag and the tiger. It's that energy of the lamb, the lion and the lamb, and him leaving the lamb behind to become the tiger, basically, across the waters. But also it's coming in as the lion, because we're in Lion's Gate, right? She is present, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, the sunshine, letting the sunshine in, the Lion's Gate, and the towering magnificence of the union here. And at the bottom of it all, and again, there's another reference to the sun with Shakti coming up next, which is coming up as the lion feminine. And letting the feminine lead the way with the 39, which is the Knight of Cups and being loved. She's got a handle on the snake there. And these two are both, so this is the feminine being in the fire and the masculine energy, where the masculine is going into the coolness of the feminine. The bottom of the deck is the Sweet Soul Rising. So again, that Page of Cups energy with the 20 of the wake-up call, right? In a very sweet way with the Ancient Ones. And this is like the little girl waiting in the water with the Ancient Ones of the trees standing guard around her, right? So here she is, the little girl with the Ancient Ones always watching out for her as the feminine collects the light. The Ancient Ones, the 52 of the Queen of Swords, with the Sweet Soul Rising in the wake-up call in order to distribute that energy in a sweet, innocent way. So it's the mother and the child, but the inner child of the masculine as well is coming up as the lamb, right? Because that's very much that Christ energy as well. That the feminine has a handle on it, right? She's been dealing with the Kundalini for a while. So it's like letting her lead the way in the masculine. Right now as the masculine goes through the ovary and the womb and the fallopian tubes type of energy and processing that. Processing how to stay in the chaos and allow the sun to come in, the light at the end of the tunnel. to achieve union, as the feminine leads the way in her power of the masculine here, with a rain on things. And I'm getting love rain on me with that. All right, so the first card out was the Spiral Dance of the Goddess. Let's see what that has to say. All right, 29 is, from a point of light unfolding, we become a soul and then incarnate into a sacred body, and our lives become a work of divine art, a speck of heavenly presence manifesting itself through dimensions of time and space and into life on earth made manifest. The extraordinary fact of your existence is a divine happening. As though the light of the moon is dancing not only upon the water, but inside of it, your ancient light is dipping into the mud of the earth. This is how the soul becomes a divine human in the making. As you sense yourself moving and shifting from light to dark and back again, from knowing and unknowing, you are weaving your consciousness, your divinity, into sacred expression, manifesting your soul essence into the form of your life, threading the light through the darkness without even realizing you are doing it. You're gently impregnating the matter of your body, of your life, with light. Your body and your life become luminous, as the light just reflected on me. Become luminous, radiant, and you assist others even just through your presence. It sounds wonderful, and it is, yet it is not always an easy path. As the light travails through the darkness, pain and suffering can arise in waves. It's best to be present to it. Trust that it is not a permanent condition, and wait for the spiral to twist from dark to light again, always moving closer and closer to the purity of the center and expanding outwardly eternally as though you are being inhaled by the divine, filling cosmic lungs as they reach far and wide, taking in all of life. The message of this oracle to you is that you are growing. You're bringing more of your light into form. You may be meeting obstacles in yourself and in the world, but this is because you're bringing through the light. If there were nothing happening, there would be no obstacle. Bless them as signs that you are proceeding and empowering them no more. You shall be. All else is just divine timing. The inner movement in expressive flow, an outward breath of dance and light, becoming one, becoming free. And then the next page is the Towering Magnificence that came up in the read as well. Okay, everyone, so a lot of what came up in that message right now also came up in the read. So remember that it's always about balance, about staying in the middle and not to punish yourself if you go off balance, because that's the perpetuation of life. We go back and forth in the dance, always being present and conscious so that we can see where we're off balance a little bit and come back to the middle again. And when you're really off balance, to look at the opposite in order to bring you back to center. But not to punish yourself, that it is what it is. And do what you can when you can, but the rest, like they said, is divine timing. So remember your water, your rest, your joy, and your nature. Rise and be loved, love and rise. Remember to breathe, and your lungs are the wind beneath your wings. And I'll see you soon. Have an amazing day, guys. Have an amazing summer. Bye.